What up, my devils? Sensei-tutum here with another video for you. So this week, going to hit you with another market checkup. I think we're going to hit some ES again. We're going to hit gold, silver again. We're going to hit some big stock names, tech. And we're going to also talk about the Bitcoin trading competition that Trade Devils is in right now on Bybit. And just the last day and a half or so of trading action at the end. So I like these market checkups. I think it's better than just doing ES or one asset for me. I'm going to try to go ahead and do this until I get bored of it on the Thursdays, and I'm going to try to get some content in between these Thursday videos for you coming up. But again, it's it's that season, it's that summer. Spend time outside, spend time with the family. Hope you're doing the same. But if you like it, be sure to let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to hear more of it, want to make sure you catch these videos and catch the ones that maybe come in between, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Trying to grow this channel, boys. Let's get to 1,000. We're almost there. That's pretty humbling if we do get there. I know that's nothing in the world of YouTube and crypto, TA, stock people, but you know what? It'd be big for me. So I'm glad everybody who's rocking with me is rocking with me, and let's get to 1,000. All right, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. And again, we're going to hit a bunch of assets. We're going to hit the ES. We're going to hit some stonks. We're going to hit gold. We're going to hit silver. And we're going to talk about Bitcoin on the low time frame trading competition that we're in. Just talk about the trades that we've been in and the trades that see potentially coming up. Just checking on something there. Okay, we'll go back to that at the end. Yeah, if you don't like all of this stuff, just jump around. I'm going to try to keep it quick in between, so I'm not going to make hopefully this video is not 30 minutes, but I'm trying to hit a lot of things and I like to talk, so we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get into it. So this is where we left off on ES last week. I said that we could easily have a bottom here, right? Because we have what we would consider a completed double zigzag to this point, and a triple zigzag, which is shown as my current primary, is a rare formation. It's very, very uncommon that I'll project for one of these, but contextually, things that we've talked about in other videos, you have to go back and watch them. I do believe that this is probably the primary, but it's not that far off, right? So, picking one and going with it. But currently, in the interim, I do still think we have upside, right? So whether the upside is, great or not that great, it's sort of both the bearish and the bullish ideas, at least my ideas, coincide with up right now, right? So that gives us a good trading environment, if that's personally the way I think of it. So personally, bull bias trade at the moment. Don't have anything beautiful. We do have a nice little 3-swing move up to here. So I would think that this is going to end up being a WXY multiple zigzag. 1-to-1 would be there. We got the algo short 50 here shown on the chart. And we don't need the algo target on here because we did break the 618, but we'll go ahead and leave it if there was an algo play on that side. This is negative 236, these little green lines, if you don't see it. On my charts, these blue are my 50s. 618 is orange, and the yellow is the 65 for the juicy golden corner pocket that Trade Devil has blessed the world with. Okay, so we don't have, again, we've broken the 65, so algo probably not in it, but we'll leave the target, this target, both of which fall short of the algo short. No matter what, should we get out of this down parallel, which we would typically use a base trend channel on the second zigzag in the pattern to say that we formed an adequate retracement, as we note here on the chart. This was on the Twitter, so if you guys wanted it, didn't see it, or last week and didn't see it, make sure you follow me on Twitter at sensei-tutum. Anyway, as long as we get outside of here, we formed an adequate retracement. Would feel nice to get up to here. We have, we have some nice lateral resistance right in that same area, even though these projections fall short, but don't bank on anything. But currently looking for long trades, I would say personally, if it was me at this point with this reaction here with a nice bit of divergence, marginally lower to low on the RSI here on the 4-hour. If we go out to the daily just quickly, it's actually quite a bit of actual divergence on the daily, and the higher time frames are more important. Let's see, there and there. Yeah, it doesn't pivot as well on the RSI on the daily for those swings, but I'd say the daily is nice. 4-hour pretty good, and so basically at this point I'd want to zoom in, get the lower my lower degree perspective here and see if I think this is an impulse wave off the low that I could then, of course, long a retrace off of. Or if you're one of those silly against the trend traders, then you may look for a short off of that impulse for the potential corrective. I don't know, unless of course you're just totally not agreeing with my analysis. Once we do break again, get up to this area, I do expect to come back and test these levels. But boys, the bottom could be in. I mean, when you have a double zigzag potentially completed and you're projecting for a very low potential triple zigzag, you just have to be aware of those scenarios. But both ideas currently do have confluence, although we do have a count where this could be a smaller internal zigzag that doesn't have to get external and then comes back down here anyway. Go back to the last video to see that. But I'd say that is, we have 3 options and 2 go to the same direction. So it's a good trading environment. All right, let's jump over to the gold and silver quickly. We've got the DXY and the 10-year on here, but we won't talk about those in this video, but they're pretty much doing what they're doing. This one going according to plan. I don't really share this count with you guys, but that boy's strong. Anyway, which is kind of funny considering the bounce that we're in here on gold. And this is the count that we've had. A, B, C. For a, this is shown as a zigzag, right? So I remember when I first shared this, I got some guff. Oh, it looks more like a flat. Yeah, but the count says otherwise, right? So I always say on here that people don't think about Elliott wave the correct way, and I always do try to drop the nuggets and teach you the ways. And it's important to know that just because a pattern is a zigzag doesn't mean that it can't fulfill the same function as a flat wave, as a sideways correction, and vice versa with a sideways correction. This would be the perfect example of a zigzag in play that would serve the purpose of a sideways correction. And of course, what happens after a sideways in a situation like this, contextually with this context, oh boy, big wave after, right? Big wave after. These are conservative numbers up here. This is just these little algos. We'd have to go out and project them, but I mean, it's easily, we're blowing through all-time gold high prices. If this count is correct, once it resolves. Again, this is a perfect example of a sharp that's shown itself to be serving the function of a sideways, and it has a nice sideways ugly B wave triangle in there, right? So this is a great example of a sharp wave, a zigzag pattern fulfilling the function of a sideways, and I believe that it will. And if you don't understand what any of that means, I don't know what to tell you. We got courses, study. Anyway, just real quick, a flat that would serve the purpose of like a sharp would probably look something like, something like this. One of your expanded flats. Oh, but your B doesn't go. People get so caught up in the different cut. But anyway, just with a really sharp C that does retrace the move larger than a sideways style typically would. Anyway, so down here, I shared a chart earlier this week after video last week. We've been showing that this would be, from here, we've been tracking this all the way down, saying that this was going to drop 1, 2. This is clearly looking like a 3 wave. And we shared a chart that earlier this week that said we thought that, hey, near term, it looks like gold's going to bounce. And, if you want to use fundamentals and think about things like that, that's not what I'm a professional at, but I do think about them. Super high CPI numbers this week, highest ever. Yeah, highest ever, 9% year over year, or something like that. But hey, no shit, right? Anyway, so yeah, I said that I did think that we would be in a near-term bounce situation, and we have sort of started to bounce down here. Let's get down to the 1 hour quickly. It's still really early in the times, but divergence. Yep, starting to exhaust. It's still coming in hot, but we're starting to get that exhaustion. I do believe that, and when I showed the chart, you saw where the red was. It wasn't, hold on, let me get back to that. There we go. So Wait, I moved it. Hold on. I don't know where it was now exactly, but basically you see that the price has gone below where the red had shown, and it wasn't meant to call an exact bottom, and I think I even said that on the update. But when it does resolve, I do believe that we're in that environment of a bounce area, but I don't think it's the low. I think we got one more. That's just my personal opinion. All right, let's look at silver. You know, silver looks better for a potential resolution, but really you still have this wave here, this 1, 2, extended 3, same difference. And it's really exhibiting all the same behaviors right now as gold. Actually, it's not exhausting nearly as bad. It is beginning to exhaust. Yeah, a lot better on the 4 hour than on the daily. And as you look back out here on the daily, it's important to see where we are, right? This is we're right in the middle of the hot box, actually getting down to the bottom half of it. So I do think we remain in the hot box. We get down through the hot box, it's going to be trouble for the count. Doesn't mean it can't, right? We don't invalidate till down here. But yeah, I do think it needs a bounce. It's in a great area to do it. Bounce, one more leg on more exhaustion. Really just drive home that trend is over. I don't expect this one necessarily to potentially capitulate down. Can always happen. Can always end on that. Yep, same thing as gold. So let's jump over here quickly to tech. We're doing pretty good on time here, 11 minutes. I wanted to keep this 15 or under, and with Bitcoin going last, if I didn't do the stonks, I could. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about stonks. I'll get more into them. I'm going to be very brief on these, not go in depth. If you want more on the stonks, definitely let me know in the comments. And remember, subscribe to see it then after you tell me to do it, and then I do it. We've got sort of mixed signals, right? These are just 4 that stonks I've got up. Like, I got some tech, and then I like PayPal, which could be considered tech. They're in the crypto realm. It's a company that's pretty cool, and it's just an interesting chart for me because ever since way back here when we called this bounce, got really nice, made some money on the chart. So once you make money on the chart, you kind of want to stick to it, right? So we have been trading at both sides since, but I do see nice exhaustion here. And my latest Bitcoin chart on my Twitter, that's on the larger degree than we're going to talk about today. So if you want to check it out. Talks about on Twitter, that is at sensei-tutum, but it talks about how we'd like to see a nice sleepy wave. Of course, it could capitulate, but this is like a perfect example of that nice sleepy wave. Look at all this divergence. Look at all this overextension. Now, it could just be resting, but we're still going to expect to probably at some point. The downside moves are getting smaller, and there are, basically we're starting to contract between these 2 points, right? And then you start to look at a pattern from the Elliott wave school of thought of an ending diagonal. I'm not even going to get in there and count and think that it is. It's just starting to show you that thing, that look, right? And then, you can sort of, when you get to things like that, of course, here, I've been talking about this chart long enough that I should probably go all the way in. But look at this. I don't have the VPVR tool on here right now, but let's see. We're kind of like barely hanging on to all this trading, right? So there isn't much history back here, but once strong area for a potential bounce, and when it goes, it's probably gonna pop up to here, right? That's sort of your safe trade area if you're trading this sort of move for at least the first leg. Not calling it now, but it's certainly interesting. Zon, look at this, broke out of the base trend, consolidating below what should have been support, and now has turned into resistance. It wasn't much of a support. Resistance. It's not a good look. Potentially consolidate low, bounce down, could get back in here and have some hope, just like we talk about all the time. But that's not looking great, and that's a big boy, right? But if we look over at something like, say, Apple, it's broken through same way, and it's already returned to the channel. No overlap in here yet, because this would be overlap of this. This one overlaps, but we're not worried about that one. We're not worried about this wave overlapping with this wave. I'm not going to put, like I said, I'm going to go brief. I'm not going to go in depth. we're worried about this wave overlapping, and hopefully, you know, it will for the bulls. And then once it does return, I would say that it looks to me, this is looking to me like the first leg of a sideways style correction. Could be a end here. If that is the deal, then we can safely form a bias and trade long up to here. Remember, we're looking to long here, right? So I mean, could get some movement in this one. Tesla sort of hanging on. Sort of just hanging on. I hate to see this consolidating right above support, because this is usually a nice way for a trend continuation to the downside, breakthrough. But until it does, I mean, this does look like although this chart loves to give me triangles that I'm wrong about, but this is looking to me more like something like this. A, B, C. D is going to be down here somewhere. D, E. Continue on, break to the downside. So maybe this one just chills, doesn't do much, and then before it breaks to the downside, while something like Apple could potentially go for it. And then, you know, that's where you get your sort of corrective mode of the index. Okay. Let's see. Do we want to talk about anything else on these charts? I think that's enough for the stonks. If you want to see those more in depth, let me know. Make sure to sub to see it once you ask me, and then I do it. Now, this is a mess. So we'll just go through it briefly. We're doing a buy-bit trading competition for TDU. I don't get to trade it much because I can only trade at my workstation, which I'm not at much, unfortunately. So, especially on this time frame, I get the way I trade. Just so now that we're getting into this, just so you guys know, I'm not a full-time trader. I have a career. I have a family. I do love to trade, work for Trade Devils, but I do other things. So the way I look at, I get perspective on a larger degree, and then I like to zoom in on a lower degree and take trades that are high probability looking setups to me on those time frames. And the way it works for me, because I'm so busy and I'm looking at these low time frames, I'll see a lot of these trades setting up, and then I won't be able to take them for, you know, maybe I'll take a conference call or get caught doing something, go out on an errand, whatever it may be, get distracted, miss it. So I get a lot of this, and you have to settle into your own trading style and what works for you. And that used to bother me, but I've just settled into that, and it doesn't bother me at all, to be honest. I miss a trade. I know there's another one coming right around the corner, and it's not going to make me try to trade, you know, YOLO, something that is a revenge that I missed it. And that's really important, that if you miss something, no matter how big it is, because I mean, I've got members that all the time when they, you know, miss crypto bottoms and stuff like that. Oh, I missed a once in a lifetime opportunity. You missed a big opportunity, but it's not once in a lifetime, man. There's always opportunities in the markets. It's just the way things work. So talking about these trades the last couple days, let's see. So yesterday we caught this trade here off the low. So we had what we'll say is, we have what we think could be, this to me looks more like an impulse to the downside. So I do believe that we have started the final advance. This would be the one of the final fifth of the Bitcoin macro to the low side. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can watch other videos, check out my Twitter. I've got the larger degree count up there. But so the bias is at this degree down, but then you have to correct it, right? So once we saw this with the resolution, and this is the most important thing in LA to me, is seeing a potential of a resolved count. We see the resolution down here, then we know that we can take some long bias trades for at least a corrective to get outside of this channel so that we can form an adequate depth. Although obviously that's just like a minimum, right? We've definitely reached minimum at this point, but I am still long bias, and we'll get to why. So anyway, that gave us the idea, okay, we can take long trades. So we saw, let's see, which one did I actually catch yesterday? It was this one. We caught this one, and then again, I don't want to get too far into it, but you know, this is an inadequate, while this could be a three wave, could be zigzag, could be diag, could be a lot of things, right? you don't know it as it's playing out, but you have what you would say is a potentially unresolved count because of the lack of an adequate retracement. Did get fairly deep on this wave to see if your idea that this was resolved here was wrong. Actually got right to the golden corner pocket, but still, it was worth a trade, especially when you saw a nice zigzag. Did a video for the members, an educational video, and plan on completing a series on all of the patterns in depth. And I started with the zigzag because to me it is the most important for my trading and in the market in general to anchor yourself. But anyway, members, refer back to that video. Beautiful zigzag. Happy to take the long. Got out at the algo target at the top of the channel. Happy to take that there. Then I actually saw this one. This happens a lot, like I said. Saw this one setting up. Wanted to take this 50, even though saw the potential for a three-way finish here. We weren't outside of this channel, so it's not yet adequate. And then once we're at this depth, it's very unlikely that this is some sort of 2B for this, 2 or B, which it would be a 2 in this case, if it were that, but it's very unlikely it's going to go that deep. And we know that it's not adequate to correct the whole thing. So personally, I can still trade confidently long. Wasn't able to get this one because again, busy. So then today we saw this setting up this morning. Right into the 50, right into the side of the channel, or actually, no, that channel was drawn later. There were some other confluences, but basically, we did break, right? So we did break here, so then you could have an adequate retracement, and really, this could be a 1, 2, 3. That's right, okay, so now I'm remembering what the biases were with it. This could have been an impulse, or it turns out it was corrective, but it could very well have been an impulse. So took a trade in the low side down here with the idea of getting a 3C for a potential 2 worst case scenario. Just like what I was talking about earlier, when your two ideas, bear and bull, go together, it's a good trading environment. So we got a trade out of down here up to the top side of this channel, and that's where I was happy to take it off. Now, I did get this trade, but I had to take it on my main account because I was mobile, and for the trading competition, I can't use it mobile. I'm in America. It's on Bybit. Shh, don't tell anybody. Anyway, this one yesterday, I did get on the Bybit. I've been away from most of this trading competition, and I'm not a high volume trader anyway for the aforementioned reasons. 20 trades a month for me is a lot. I might take 4 trades a month. It depends on the situation. Summer's definitely slower than other times. Anyway, got this one on Bybit, and of course the main account, and only got this one on the main account because I was not around. Now, once I saw this breakout, I missed another trade. Got this trade on the main account, but just a little extension pool. If you don't know what that means and you don't know how I use algos, members, go check out the algo video, and the knowledge section is very important. I think that a lot of this, if you're confused at all, well, that'll clear you up. Anyway, saw this setting up, really wanted this. Got distracted, missed it. But now we have the potential. But we have to be careful because we do really, now remember when I was talking about adequate retracements, we really do have an adequate retracement here if this idea for this downside move is right. It's a bit short, right? This wave is a bit short relative to this wave. We go ahead and switch this over to 618. I figured it'd be about that. So a C, the most likely relationship, if this, just say an A, we'll keep it simple. A to a C is 1 to 1. And the second most likely relationship would be the 618. So we're beyond that. We've made it to the 50 retrace of this wave. So it is very adequate. So you have to start knowing that you're not, as confident, but I'm still confident to take this trade. And there's a few reasons why, other than the fact that it's a little short. And if we go down and actually do some counting in here, and again, nothing I'm showing here is ever like a must. Nothing in markets is ever a must. Has to be this, must be. That's not the way it works. There's more finesse than that. Let's put it that way. But for me, the way I see this best working out is like this. projection. Say we get down to 50, maybe even the 6. We'll just go down here for fun. Even it might even get through the 618 somewhat. Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, I could see it getting through the 618, but just using the algos as a nice guide. I would love to see the algo play here. But so for me, I'm calling this expanding diag impulse. And then this is an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if this is a 3-wave move completed, and there's other ways you could have called this, but now that we have this much price action to this side of this count, we can kind of say with confidence that this is a 3-wave move to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, little 5 in there. And that this is pretty obviously 5-wave move, right? Okay, so this is an unresolved, potentially unresolved count, which, again, knowing when something is resolved is the most powerful thing in Elliott. I can't say that enough. This is potentially unresolved. We don't see the clear, obvious resolution, unless, of course, we're totally wrong, and this is either a 5-wave move in here, or this is a 3-wave move somehow. We have a completed zigzag to this 50, and boom, we're fucked. Although the price off this high isn't exactly impulsive, right? So that gives me more conviction, and this part of it is always the most important to me. Boys, this is how I trade every time. So it's not a clean finished 3-wave, right? Because we went nice clean 3 into here, but then we went 3 to the upside. Talking about that multiple zigzag over on the ES, we broke out of that base channel, and you got to do, now we draw this base channel to project again for another potential 3-wave. Well, we're putting in, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of putting in one here. Something like that, maybe. Maybe this gets down to here. Who knows exactly, right? So once this completes and finishes to the other side, we'll redraw and reassess, and we're going to want to see, to take a long, I'm going to want to see a high resolution of completion of a count. This is how you trade Elliott Wave, and I'm just giving it away for free, boys. Let's get to 1,000. Let's get to 1,000 subs. You know, if you just do this all the time, I don't know how you can't make money in trading. It's really, really easy. It really is. And you know, if you're busy, don't revenge trade. Just look for these types of setups. Just learn the theory, know it completely, so that you can just look at this chart and you don't even need labels, and you have all of this already laid out. And then you'll miss a trade here, you miss a trade there if you're busy like me. But then you'll get, you know, the ones that you do take, you'll win way more than you lose. That's the goal. You know, you can take 1,000 trades a day, and if you lose, you know, or 4 trades in a year, if you play your cards right, you can make more money than your 1,000 trades a day. I'm being very hyperbolic there, but you get the point. Just find out what works for you and make that shit work and drive it home. Don't try to do what I'm doing if it doesn't work for you. Don't try to do what somebody else is doing because they say you got to do it this way or you got to learn this. Just if you find something that works, I don't care what it is. I don't care how stupidly simple it is. The simpler the better, actually. Or how, you know, if it's complex and it works. If it works for you, make it work. And you can take in whatever, you can learn this methodology that we teach and mold it to what works for you, to a style that works for you. Take this part of it, throw away that part of it, you know, expand with these other areas that you might like and bring them in. We've got guys that use harmonics and shit. Monty Crypto has made up his own system. It's pretty fucking cool. And he uses it with Elliott Wave, of course. So, and pitchforks and all the other things we teach. So, you know, take it, make it your own, just make it work. And if it's not working, try something else until it does. All right, boys, that's this week's market checkup. I'm going to try to do another one next week and maybe even sneak something in between. Hit in the comments what you might want to see if I get a video out before next Thursday. In the meantime, stay breezy.